Welcome to the Dynamic Life Podcast. This is our first broadcast in a long time. Please welcome Mr. Ben Sarilla. Pakilala ka, Ben.
Hello everyone, my name is Ben Sarilla. I am 23 years old. I am a new hire of Team Arete
Graduated from?
from Ateneo de Manila University this year, 2023.
Pero taga saan talagang probinsya?
From Malaybalay sa Bukidnon. Kaway-kaway dyan sa mga...
Okay, today we have prepared a few questions. Si Ben, representative of the Gen Zs. Kuya Mark, representative of the Gen Xers. Pero pasalamatan muna natin yung ating director,
Yay!
Mr. Justin Villayo.
Pakita sa camera.
Okay, what are your questions, Ben?
Okay, so I have prepared 10 questions to ask people in senior positions in a company.
Okay.
So first, what are the advantages of being part of the Gen Z? Or do you think there are advantages of being Gen Z when working within a traditional corporate setup?
Okay, interesting, no? Ako, I love the Gen Zs because skilled. The Gen Zs are skilled. Unlike the Gen Xers, even some older millennials, Ben, no? Gen Zs parang standard yung editing skills. Video, audio, etc. No? Standard yung editing skills.
Yes.
What else?
We're more collaborative because we learned how to collaborate on-site, especially online during the pandemic.
Yeah, so what would you say is the biggest benefit to your generation itong bit-bit ng pandemic? What did the experience taught you?
I think we were forced to develop relationships online. Like we were forced to collaborate to really connect online.
That's a nice word. Yung genuine connection used to be unheard of sa digital world pre-pandemic, di ba? Parang people would think na if you're communicating online, it's more just work.
Transactional.
Very transactional. It's just doing something. But during the pandemic, you had to cope with the lockdowns.
You were forced to have real friendships. So we have Discord calls after classes. For org meetings, we had like chica sessions after.
So how do you think that would benefit the workplace with you guys entering with that kind of mindset and experience?
I think first there's a preference for if we can do this online, parang why do we have to do this on site? Parang ganun. Although the benefit of on-site relationships is not lost to you, right? No.
Oh, hindi naman.
We know that it's more beneficial, especially for teaching.
Yun nga lang, since you experienced having genuine relationships online, you feel that can replace to a greater extent yung face-to-face on-site relationships. Is that the case?
Yeah, there's a phrase na we use. Parang whenever someone invites us for a meeting, there's a phrase na we use where like, this could have been an email. Ganun. Parang ganun na. Parang, oh, can we meet on this, have a meeting? And then we say like, this could have been an email.
So meaning, the corporate organizational bosses need to grapple with the reality na there's this generation who believes that it can work. Kaya lang, we also know, Ben, that a lot of leadership is really anchored on mentoring and coaching. And it's very hard to mentor and coach, especially for critical skills, critical decisions, if you're doing that online. Oo. So, is your generation also realizing that while it could work for task-related parang functions, but we need to be together so we could coach, mentor, transfer knowledge, and transfer skills?
Yes. So I think it really is important. So ayun, parang how do we, because we know as Gen Zs, when we enter the workforce, we don't have a say as of yet in how things work. So how do we suggest that these methods can also work?
That's it. So who adjusts to whom is the big question. And most likely, the boss has the final say.
Yes.
So if the boss has the final say, are you seeing the possibility of Gen Zs resenting working for traditional businesses because it will require them to work on site?
Not really resent, but more on, we really want to suggest. Parang we really want to have an opinion on this. Parang ganun. More on we can change things up a bit. Parang pero a bit entitled, I think.
Yun nga lang, because meaning you're not yet in the position to make the call, right?
Yeah.
So that's going to be the challenge. Yeah, so we wish all the Gen Zs and the bosses of the Gen Zs patience, I guess, an open mind as they navigate itong options that they have post-pandemic, right?
Yes.
Okay, what's our next question?
Next question. How can I, it relates to the first question, how can I or we as Gen Z effectively communicate and negotiate with senior professionals and decision makers in the corporate hierarchy? So once we acknowledge now we don't have a say yet, how do we communicate effectively our suggestions, our opinions, ganun? How do we talk to people who are in the higher positions?
Okay. I guess it's a question of two things. Number one, are you able to communicate in such a way that the boss will listen and consider? That's one. Because if you communicate to a person the decision making in a manner that challenges his authority, challenges his assumptions, in a way that triggers his fight or flight response, then the chances of you getting heard will be much lower. Okay. So that's one. It's the tone, it's the approach, it's the face, it's the timing. So that's one. Second thing is, since you don't have so much experience yet in terms of analyzing outcomes, meaning these are the facts, these are the outcomes, you want to be more fact-based so that you will be heard. Meaning, I might not, or the Gen Zs might not know all the intricacies of the business yet. The Gen Zs might not know all the outcomes and the consequences of certain decisions and actions. But the Gen Zs might have a good grasp of reality.
Oh, okay.
So that good grasp of reality should factor into the decisions that should be made. So if, for example, I'm the business owner, you're the Gen Z, I should know that there are so many things in today's world that I don't understand that you might know better.
Okay.
So that's, I think, very tricky. That's very important.
And then us as Gen Zs, we don't know how the industry works yet. So we don't know how do clients usually react, how to stay atop of competitors. So we should listen first and gather more facts, information about the industry, how the company works, how we differentiate from other competitors.
Especially in your context.
Okay. And then we suggest once we know all the facts.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. So it's more, let the facts speak for you, because the facts will shape the decision. The facts will shape insight and opinion. Pero if you're coming in with strong arguments, strong insight, it might trigger the bosses in a wrong way.
So mas mag-work yung learn first and then suggest. Ganun.
Yeah.
Okay.
Suggest in with the right manner, tone, timing, and also a good grasp of facts and reality.
And I think it's also better if we suggest in the things na we know na our generation knows better, I think.
Yes.
Because we can't suggest topics na like how
Like for example, what do you think your generation would know better? Let's say we're a retail organization.
So I think yun marketing, yung how to use technology better, how do ads, promotions. I think ganun.
Consumer behavior.
Yeah.
Mm.
Marketing research, surveys.
And what drives the decisions of Gen Zs? At least, or the younger millennials, correct?
Yeah.
Mm. Paano kayo mag-isip?
So we can give opinions on how, if the target market is our generation.
Yeah, and more, the target market will be your generation, right? Because it's a young economy we're in. Yeah, interesting. Second question. Oh no, we're on our third.
Third question. So what communication skills are essential for our generation in the modern workplace, and how can we develop them to advance in our careers?
Interesting question. You have to realize that decisions are based on documents. Okay. In an organization, there are layers of leadership, and those layers of leadership will have a say in decisions coming from the suggestions they gather. So if you're a millennial or a Gen Z and you're wanting to be heard, it's important that you, number one, learn to write well. It's really more about writing rather than speaking. Because if you can write a nice proposal and it really makes sense, and this proposal in writing can be taken by your one-up, and then he can take it all the way up to the decision makers, then your idea will have gained life because the leaders above you who are older than you takes this document and carries it up. If it's just a spoken word, pwede mo sabihin, well, I have my staff telling me like this, like that. Wala kang hawak eh. So my suggestion really, if you're a young professional, learn to write proposals well, suggestions well, write good emails, because those can be taken by your superiors all the way to the very top, rather than just saying them verbally. So my question is, how dedicated are schools now in teaching people how to write? Yun yung tanong. Nandun pa ba yung writing skill, Ben? You write well. That's I'm happy with. That's why you got hired. You write well.
Thank you.
So, but overall, meaning speaking of your generation, meron pa bang writing skills?
It's hard to say, because writing well, I think it's something that's built up from elementary, high school, college. So your writing ability is dependent on how you started.
Oh no.
So because I graduated at Ateneo, but there are still people who cannot write well.
Even from Ateneo,
yes,
or UP or LaSalle or some top schools.
Maybe in top schools. There are people na you have to proofread pa their work before actually submitting it. But then the thing is, there are many apps nowadays.
ChatGPT to the rescue.
ChatGPT, Grammarly. So you can write drafts for a very short time, and then they're gonna proofread, and then all you have to do is submit it there, and then the grammar's gonna be correct.
Wait, for example, there's a project. There's a project in the company. The boss is floating to the staff that he's open to some ideas. It's very project specific and company specific. Can you use ChatGPT for that?
It's hard when there are terms that are used specifically in the industry. But ChatGPT or like some AI apps can help in making it more formal, I think.
And check grammar.
Check grammar, yes. And then we can suggest like using synonyms.
Okay.
So if you want words to sound more formal, we can use AI.
So meaning, if you did not learn your writing skills in elementary and high school, you better know how to use apps.
Yes. But then it's the difference is ChatGPT and other AI apps cannot replicate the human emotion.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want words or like phrases that can capture human interest, it's the ChatGPT can't help.
Okay. So there's a limit to what AI and apps can do.
So copywriting, I think, is it's shaky ground.
So we're really talking to young audiences.
Yes.
They better start at elementary and high school.
Yes.
But is it too late to learn it in college? Hindi naman siguro. Baka pwede pa.
Pwede pa since first year, I think.
But do the kids these days have the discipline to learn a skill if they realize it's important?
I think it's a bit hard.
Oh, no.
Everything's so easy. Everything's one click away. Everything's really fast.
So why the effort? No, why put in the effort if ChatGPT can do it for you?
Yes.
Yun yung challenge natin doon. Okay, so learn to write well, communication skills, oral communicate. But if you're young and you're just going up, I really suggest you learn to write well. Okay. Mukhang hindi natin maubos yung 10 questions. So hanggang 5 na lang siguro tayo.
Sige, 5.
Speak closer to the mic.
5. Okay, next. We're in question number 4.
Yeah.
Okay, question number 4. What are the unique challenges and opportunities that Filipino young professionals like myself might face in terms of career growth and advancement?
Interesting question. But you know what my answer to that, Ben, is challenges because there's so many opportunities.
Yes, okay.
With so many opportunities, especially online and the growing world, the growing economy, I think the challenge is more internal to the person than the industry.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Definitely, 100%. Because I think Gen Zs are very, very critical on what specific job they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
If they feel it's not aligned with their personal beliefs and values, they won't do it. We're very keen on not doing things just for the money, I think.
But you need to build a long-term career. And if you want to build a stable career, you have to stick it out. You have to stay long and be patient with people, right?
Yes. I don't think we have the patience for now, I think.
But maybe we haven't seen your generation yet, meaning in action, because we were in the pandemic and it's hard to say.
We're still starting out in the work thing.
So it's more still social relevance and helping the world, especially after the pandemic. Okay, so internal to the person, there will be challenges. So understand what you want. Know that life will not come easy. Know that you need to invest time. Know that you need to build skill. Those are decisions that will be up to the person. I guess the second big challenge is really competition will be harder.
Oh, definitely.
Because apps. Before, if writing was my strength, you're saying from the discussion previous to this, the apps can overcome that. At kung makapal yung mukha ko, I can use apps and somehow overcome your advantage by using apps. So, meron ganon.
Meron. So, yeah. So, that's why when you say na to communicate better, we must write better. Parang our minds were like, the apps can write it. So parang it's more of the how do we communicate it.
Yes. The timing, the how, the when, the platform. Very critical. So that's also a challenge. Competition in the workplace will be a challenge. And I guess a third thing that's also going to be difficult in the new world is life is expensive.
Very
life
expensive.
Life is expensive. So on one hand, you don't want to work for money. On the other hand, you need money to survive today because life is expensive.
Yes. There's a new study where most of the Gen Zs are now they can't afford rent. Basically, that's it. They can't afford rent. So, and then there's a study now. We are all moving back to our parents' house and then do work online.
Yeah.
That's the trend.
Good you got
nowadays.
adopted by an old couple in Parang Marikina.
Yes. Thank you very much. I got lucky.
Yeah, it's expensive. Rent is expensive. Food is expensive. Transport is expensive. Plus milk tea. Plus coffee.
I have a friend in CDO. So they're quite rich.
Mm-hmm.
They have a business in CDO, and I saw his tweet, and he said, because they have a business in CDO, he's like, do I stay at home and live in my house and work for their business, or do I work in Manila but never own a house?
Yeah. Yes. In fact, I read something that the best time to buy a property is now if you want to own it in the future, because it will only get more difficult to own a property. It's going to be more expensive in the big cities. So, yes. So finding the job that's meaningful
With the right salary.
with the right salary, with the right career path, making that balancing act is going to be hard.
Very hard.
Okay, so that's it.
Last
question. So this
Okay.
is our top 5. So there's going to be a part 2 for this.
Yes. Okay. A bit controversial. How can I effectively navigate the corporate culture in the Philippines while staying true to my values and individuality?
Okay.
It's very debatable in our, especially it's also taught in schools.
Okay. Well, one, it's not good to assume that the corporate culture is bad.
Okay.
Okay. Although there's this parang notion these days among the young that the corporate culture will rob you of your values and will cause you to compromise and to lose yourself and your soul. Hindi naman. Meaning corporate people are not that bad. Corporate people are not that evil. There might be a few that who are not so good influences to their subordinates, but I would like to think that on the whole,
Not all,
on the whole, meaning generally speaking,
generally, okay.
The corporate leaders are good people. And it is when you assume that there's good in them that you will respond positively to them. And second, who will change and make improvements if we're all running away from it? Diba? Diba the best way for evil to triumph is for good men not to do anything. Diba? Yun yung challenge. So, my encouragement is, one, don't assume that people there are bad. Two, to go out there and don't be that obnoxious guy who thinks I will change this place.
Okay.
You're all evil. I'm here to be the voice of reason and truth and justice. Hindi din, they will not like you, di ba? So napakahalaga to go out there with humility, with the desire to learn and the desire to contribute to whatever development and change. But if for example, I'm hoping that it's not a big likelihood, but if it does happen to you where you're put in a compromising situation, I hope that the Gen Zs and the young professionals would find allies within the companies that would allow them to effect positive change without having to suffer too much. Alam mo yon? Meaning, if you believe you're in the right and you can help, stand your ground. work within the corporate structure and processes and believe that you can help. Pero kung mayabang ka na parang I'm here to be the savior of the universe, nako, ang hirap nun. Mahirap yun.
Especially if we're in an industry, because there are industries na if you won't compromise, you won't survive.
But would you say that yung thinking na I'm out there to change the universe and improve and fight injustice, is that a predominant thinking and mindset among especially those coming from top universities?
Not really, because we're also taught that it is a very complex issue, that there's no black and white. But we're also positive in a way na the little decisions or little things that we decide on and we act on can make a big difference in the long run.
Yeah.
So I think that's it. We're not very mayabang, but we're also positive na.
But some maybe are.
Maybe some, I think.
Well, like in every generation, meron
meron.
naman talaga. Okay, that's good. That's good to know. That's good to know na hindi siya pervading thinking na masama yung mundo and we're here to change it, lalo na coming from the indoctrination of top universities. Hindi pala ganon. Or there's a correction that's happened.
It's not something that can be easily solved. Yun yung what we're taught.
Okay.
Yes.
So those are the 5
questions from Gen Zs.
I hope you enjoyed that. We will record some more.
If you have more questions, we can address them in the next video. So if you have more questions, you can comment down below in this video so we can address them.
Yep. From the Gen Z to the Gen X, we hope you live a dynamic life. Keep moving, keep improving. Till next time, God bless.
Thank you.